Hello, Jacob here. And it is officially that time of year again. Vikings football is back. Woo! About time, too. It seems like every postseason just gets longer and longer and longer. Especially, it didn't help with that, kind of dud Super Bowl and then even more dud AAF experiment, which, not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping that, you know, be kind of a nice little competition to the NFL, or at the very least, kind of help pipeline some players, which it did, but that's a whole different type of video and can of worms that I'm not even going to try to get into. But yeah, as I said before, training camp is officially underway, and the Minnesota Vikings season is officially upon us. So there'll be, like every year, there's got to be a few key concerns that I'm going to have and that I want to see. And also, there's going to be a little mini rant, which will kind of go into one of the positions that I'm looking at. So, first up, probably the most important position on this team that I'm going to be looking at is our offensive line. Good God, was that a tricky mess last year, for lack of a better word there. Oh, you want to talk about Swiss cheese at its finest and basically revolving door at its worst. And Kirk Cousins is one of those guys who's not really known for his mobility and his legs, and you would think that bringing him in for the $84 million, you probably, try to get him the best offensive line you could. I'm not saying that it wasn't the best offensive line you could get, but again, when you're dealing with a non-mobile quarterback who still, by the way, threw really well last year too, you've got to get some meat on that line. I mean, because with Diggs, with Thielen, with Cook, healthy Cook, that'll be fun to see as well, and of course, another year of Kirk Cousins under yet again new regime. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we can get like the cohesion, with our first round draft pick in Garrett Bradbury. I would love to see him, be the center of the future, and then, of course, will Riley Reef step up? Can we get another solid year of Brian O'Neill? Our starting guards, are they going to be up to snuff? And, of course, how's the depth behind it going to look, just in case? And for position group number 2 that I'm going to be looking at, I'll be looking at our wide receiver 3 position, because that is about as wide open as our offensive line situation at this point. Because outside of Diggs and Thielen, well, again, it's wide open because Laquan Treadwell, bless his heart, there's just something off with him. I don't know if it's the NFL bright lights got to him or he just could never quite catch up or whatever, but unless he really, really, really steps it up this year, this is more than likely going to be his last year as a Minnesota Viking. And if that's the case, I wish him nothing but the best of luck. Especially when you have guys like Chad Beebe and, of course, a lot of our draft picks. We have a lot of undrafted and young talent. But if I had to be a betting man, I would say Chad Beebe's probably going to be the receiver 3. And they'll still probably try to put Treadwell in there just because, well, they just don't want to give up on him yet, I guess, for lack of a better word. And, of course, now the cornerback position, that just got a heck of a lot thinner thanks to Holton Hill. Yeah, Holton Hill's suspended for the first 8 games. Thankfully, we're pretty deep at that position. But still, I mean, what used to be a pretty deep position, I should say, is now pretty shallow thanks to that. Especially because, well, Mike Hughes still coming off of the ACL from last year. Who knows how he's going to be his first game back. Because remember Dalvin Cook last year? They seemed to try to rush him in and he didn't look ready yet. And then the second he got healthy, again, just asked the Detroit Lions how that went. We were like, yeah, that's Dalvin Cook. So, hopefully, that's my biggest fear, too, is when they rush players back in. I mean, I get that maybe you don't have the biggest or the best depth, but I mean, for crying out loud, people, don't rush players back in. It's never a good idea. And lastly, the kicking / special teams. Good mother trucking God. I mean, for those of you who weren't following, Dan Bailey missed like 3 of his first 5 field goals yesterday, missing a 39, a 41, and like a 47 or something like that. And after reading about that, all the Vikings fans, including me, are going, great. This stuff again? Seriously, out of all the positions that the Vikings try to, fix and all that stuff, why can't they get the damn kicking right? It's almost like they try to ruin it. I mean, this isn't even just now. I mean, even back 10, 15 years ago, it seemed like every game from '02 to '05 was a different kicker. Granted, back then, '02 to '05 was pretty much a different player at every single position at that time during the Mike Tice era, but again, that was the Mike Tice era, which probably 98% of the Vikings fans want to forget ever existed. Anyway, back to this modern tragedy that is our kicking game. I'm seriously just hoping that it's just, new coordinator, getting everyone, their bearings back together, but I've seen this same song and dance for the last 5 years. Basically, after the 2015, I'm not even going to go into that game, the Seattle playoff game. We just can't seem to get consistent kickers. Now, I will say, Kai Forbath was pretty good for us, and if it wasn't for him, we would not have won that game against the Saints. And we cut him for Daniel Carlson going into week 3 of preseason last year, who I think Daniel Carlson made 2 field goals for us in the first 4 weeks, and then he got cut. And, of course, he goes to Oakland and turns into the kicker we thought he was going to be. It's a start of luck, ain't it? However, though, when Blair Walsh went to Seattle, and all the Seattle fans are kind of complaining and moaning about that, I'm like, did you not see what happened? You know exactly what you're getting with him, but again, that's neither here nor there on that one. But seriously, though, if we can't get the kicking game right, that's really going to hurt us. Like I say, that and, of course, the offensive line, because if Kirk Cousins can't get any time, what good's he going to be back there if he's going to get sacked every 5 seconds, Yeah, but as I said before, preseason begins a week from, I want to say, Thursday for us. At New Orleans. I can't remember if it's August 8th or August 9th. But yeah, our first preseason game's coming up, so by then I'll hopefully have a better idea of what this team's going to look like. Keep following, training camp, and I'm just so excited that Vikings football is back. So, well, it's that time of year again. So, before I ramble on too much more, you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll hopefully be back, hopefully to recap every game, but kind of have to wait and see what my schedule is like. So, without further ado, you guys have a good rest of the night, and Skol Vikings.